solid in there. I'm sure when he went in, he was a little looser than what.
We're live.
Overnight.
All right, let's go ahead and start the meeting with pledge allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks, everyone. See on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. I'd like to add one thing. Steve Hauser with EMA Director has the hazmat mitigation agreement to present to us.
Where you adding that at, Tom?
We will add that right after. Before A.
Okay.
Yeah. Entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda
Second.
with the provision, yeah.
Okay. Motion made and second. All for vote aye, carried 3-0. The minutes of the December 20th meeting were emailed out to, will we get a chance to review them? Any comments, changes?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made and second, carried 3-0 to approve the minutes. Okay, Pam Goffman and Chris Hammond.
Okay, so we do have our benefits for the payroll claims in the amount of $65,976.16. We do have our docket for the telephone advance and the highway totaling $90,066.93. We do have a delay in our general claim docket. There have been some discrepancies. The checks have not been printed yet, so we do not have those today. So all we have is the highway and the telephone advance in the amount of $90,066.93 to approve today.
And then this is the time you're encumbering some of these funds to roll over to 23 from 22, I'm assuming on
Correct.
contracts that have
Yes.
not been fully paid yet?
Yes,
Okay.
so we will get all that lined out, and I'll have that in January, but there's been some discrepancies with everything, so
Okay.
just not enough time to get it all checked and balanced and all that.
I'll make a motion to approve the, are we approving them both, the claims? For the payroll benefit and the other claims, or do we need to break them into two separate ones?
Do you guys?
Yeah, either way.
If everybody's okay, just do them both at the same time?
Good.
So I'll make that motion to approve both claims.
And I'll second that motion.
Motion made and second, carried 3-0. Is that all you got?
That is all I have.
All right. Next thing on Jim, Steve Hauser with the mitigation, you want to adoption of a mitigation plan.
Okay. You want the speaker over there, or
Oh,
good
yeah.
right here?
Somebody moved it, and they,
What I'm asking today is for the commissioners to approve the update in the hazard mitigation plan. This is something we do about every 5 years. Our plan is updated. We involve all the cities, the county, and the school systems. We look at any hazard that might affect our county, any changes, whether it be a flood, tornado, anything that could potentially cause a hazard for our county. So we get the agencies together, we brainstorm, and we basically peak the plan, any updates or changes. Like I say, this is about every 5 years. We got a grant from the state to actually update our plan through the, and we contracted out with the Polis Center. They are doing this for most of the counties in Indiana. So they're doing the work. All we had to do was hold a couple of the meetings with input into the plan. All of the cities, towns have already adopted it. It is what we call a draft state at this point. As soon as the county commissioners approve it, it will go back to the Polis Center, and they will basically print it out, and we will have copies for all the agencies. Without this, this plan is very important for any county agency or city or town that applies for grants. This is a requirement for most grants when you apply for them now, to have an updated multi-hazard mitigation plan. So that's basically what it is. I had emailed copies, I think last week, out. It's a pretty lengthy plan, but again, all we did was basically update it and peeked it around with some of the changes.
That was my question too, because that's the document you sent out, that was the multi-page one. And you had participants, quite a few.
Yes.
I saw the list of the people that are actually part of this whole process.
Yes.
Schools and
The
cities
schools
and
were
all
involved
this.
in all the cities and
Yeah.
towns.
And
Yep.
everything. And it's basically, there's nothing I saw in there that was really earth-shattering of a change. So,
It's just, basically, it's an update. We review it.
Right.
Yeah, every 5 years.
and it's only a draft form now until it's approved.
Till it's approved, it
So
goes up.
that
and then we'll-
document will actually become effective once everyone signs off on it in its current
Yes, sir.
state.
Any questions or comments?
Good. I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, motion made and second. Also vote aye, carry 3-0 to approve the hazardous mitigation plan. Thanks, Steve. Next thing on the agenda is a copy of the animal shelter contract that we had approved the last meeting with the changes of that. It starts January 1st, and that the monthly amount is $6,250 a month, which falls in line with the interlocal agreement with the city of Cannleton and the city of Del City. So I don't know that we need to take action. It's just that we have the updated contract in front of us. Correct?
Yeah, just to sign.
Okay. Next on the agenda is the...
Tom, before you go forward, we needed just clarity on the contract that was sent to me. It says in there under item 5, beginning November 2022, the county shall pay River Edge Animal Shelter for services rendered by River Edge Animal Shelter pursuant to this agreement in the amount of $62.50 per month, beginning November 2022.
I had to call Chris back a second time because he changed the amount and didn't change the date. So he updated the date to last week's meeting and approved it.
So this section, the one that was provided to me, is incorrect?
I don't know. When did
Right,
you get
it is
that one?
incorrect.
Yeah, that's the old
He
one.
So
missed-
do
he
you
missed
have
the
one
date
that's
again.
actually current then, so I could actually read it?
No, this one is printed out as November 22 in that place.
Right,
But
that's what was furnished to me that I went through and read.
Right, in the other, in the agreement,
Because he changed this up here. Did he need to change
Yeah.
something? December 20th.
Under item 5.
item
Oh,
5,
okay.
he should have been,
So he didn't change that part.
he missed that.
See, and what it
Should have been
does is
January 20.
We don't have money to pay for November and December. Those interlocal agreements become effective January 1.
Right,
So-
that November needs to be changed to January of 2023 to be in line with the rest of them, the rest of the dates within the contract.
So he just changed on the first page. He didn't change on that.
Well, you change it in other places too.
I just
Like in
missed one.
5B, he references the January and February 2023.
Okay.
Um,
So Monday.
It's just that one place.
All right, I will get with them and do that.
Okay.
And that needs updated to December 20th, is that correct, or?
It actually, the way
January?
that's been drafted, you're not gonna start paying till January 1. So it needs to reflect a January 1 start date versus a November 2022.
And it does in item 1 under agreement.
It refers to that, but it tells us we start paying in November.
Right,
when
that
you-
needs to be changed.
When you create a contract with ambiguities within it, it's not real,
Okay. It needs to
Good.
be,
So is 5A the only thing I need to advise them?
yes.
Okay.
Yes. So we made the agreement on the 20th, but it doesn't start till January 1st.
Got it.
Okay. All right, next on the agenda, culvert bids. You want to explain what we found out,
Okay.
Chris?
Yes, so I contacted our county attorney, and in regards to the culvert bids, we received 2. If we accept those bids, we are bound to purchase from them. If we deny both those bids, it gives us the freedom to purchase from wherever we see fit. I know that the last meeting, Steve Howe had spoken that he can get the piping cheaper over at the farm store and Menards and whatnot. So if we deny the E3 and what is the other, Indiana Southern,
I don't have a name.
yeah, and
Those
yeah,
two
there's
bids
2 of
were
them,
called.
then he can still purchase from them, but it also allows him that if he would like to, if it's a small amount, that he can, you know, or he,
Well,
we're
basically,
depending on
he could buy them
location,
anywhere he
can
wants.
buy them anywhere.
That makes sense, Steve? Okay.
And we had, I had spoke with him and I advised him of that because he called on it. So that's the information I have for you to make your decision on the 2 bids for the culverts.
Okay, cool.
so Steve, you prefer just to leave it open?
Yes.
Okay.
If we
So-
can save all money.
Yeah, I mean, if he's got it where he can pick it up, it's closer and that, you know, depending on what part of the county he's working in. I mean, it only makes sense because labor's expensive too, if he can pick it up. But we just don't accept them, as I'm assuming. We don't deny them, we just don't accept them.
Yes, and I am going to get that in an email writing from Chris because it was just for a conversation, but just so we have that.
On record.
For
Good. That's
for my
good.
protection.
But we still need to make a motion to not accept it.
Deny all bids, yeah,
Yeah.
not accepting.
So we need the public, okay.
I'll make that motion to not deny the culvert bids.
Do not accept the
Yeah,
bids.
yes.
I'll second it.
Motion made, second, all for the fair please. Okay, fuel bids, the gasoline for the county and sheriff's cars, there was no bids at the, by the deadline. So you said, Chris, we could extend it out?
Yes, since I contacted our attorney, he said because we had not received any other bids, we didn't have to advertise, but if a bid came in after the time, we could still go in, we didn't have to publish or do anything. So here is the fuel bid.
All right, this is, item 6 of the bids, and it was unleaded gasoline, 15,000 gallon plus or minus. Bid price of 5 cents per gallon, discount off the posted pump price, and that's from CNS Incorporated. And item 5 is unleaded gasoline, 30,000 gallons plus or minus. And this bid was put in by CNS Incorporated at 5 cents per gallon, discount off of posted pump price at Circle S number 10 at Main and Payne in Tell City, Circle S 30, which is Highway 66 and William Tell Boulevard, Circle S 82, which is 12th and Tell, and Circle S 39, which is Highway 37 and Apollonia Road in St. Mark's. Question?
So you have one for 15,000, one for 30, and they're both the
Yes,
same?
one of them was, not sure why he split item 6 and item 5.
One of them is for the county cars and the other one is for the sheriff.
Sheriff, okay.
The
I
county
thought
cars
that's
are the
what it was.
15,000 and the sheriff's vehicles, I think, is the 30,000.
But it does say plus or minus.
Right, it's all the same
Yeah.
price, the same relevant.
Right.
Right.
Yes, it can be either or.
I think that's how we submitted the bid application. Split it up
Two
that way.
ways.
Yeah, I think we've had in the past.
Then I'm assuming if you accept them both, the 15 and the 30, because you asked for two separate bids?
They're two separate items, yeah.
Right, and, I mean, that's up to you, but I would think that would make the most sense, to accept them both.
And I think that's currently what you got on, ongoing in
We-
22.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they extend that out to, since the ambulances run off of the hospital budget, they also extend that same discount to the hospital for the ambulances. But they're not under contract to do that, they just do that. So, and it's the only gasoline bid that we've received.
I'll make a motion to accept the 15 and the 30 at a 5-cent discount from posted price.
Okay, I'll second that motion.
Motion made and second, I also vote aye, carried 3-0. All right, next thing on the agenda is the LEPC contract update. We had that on the 20th, and Steve wasn't able to make it here to explain. Steve, do you care to explain how that contract works? There were some questions.
The LEPC is the Local Emergency Planning Committee. It is actually a state agency. The funding comes from, with the facilities store hazardous chemicals, they pay a fee into the state each year, any facility in Perry County that stores those chemicals. The fees go to the state. They forward a portion of that back to each county to fund what's called the Local Emergency Planning Committee. The total amount is about, I think, $3,000 something a year. The part we're looking at here is the part that Sandy does as administrative part. It's always been a contract through the county. Originally, it was combined into one duty. Years ago, the state requested it be a separate contract. I believe that goes back to 1995. And I did forward documents on that. It's always been a separate contract since 1995. The amount would not exceed $1,417 per year. I think there may have been a question, I think I talked to you, Randy, about the taxes.
Right, that's my concern.
The
Because
taxes.
she is an employee.
She is, right. The taxes, it is turned in at the end of the year. And Sandy is responsible, but it is turned in on, what is it, the W-2? The W-2, it is included at the end of the year on her W-2. So the taxes are taken out by Sandy is responsible for those taxes.
The W-2, then the county's paying half of the Social Security Medicare.
No,
They're not?
no, this,
Then it wouldn't be a W-2.
well, the way it's always worked, when the W-2s for the county employees, and then any employee that works, even just like these circuit court girls where they do transcripts, or the sheriff's guys where they get paid for their uniforms, those amounts are added on just strictly to their taxable wage. And that's all it is. It's just added on it. That's extra income that they have received from the county because they're a county employee. And then they take it to their tax person and they're making up to pay the taxes if there's any still owed, or if they have to pay anything at the end of the year.
They don't pay taxes on it when they get it, they pay taxes on it when they file the
Right,
taxes.
so,
Correct.
I mean, just, and I know where Randy's line of thinking is, shouldn't they receive a 1099 instead of a?
We were,
W-2?
years ago when I was instructed about that, as far as if they're a county employee, we didn't give them a W-2 and a 1099. That's why we added it on to their W-2s.
Okay, and the state, federal's all good with that?
And we've done that ever since I've been here, for the last 8 years, and through the audits, has never said anything about it.
I mean, I see what your question is.
Well, see, this here is actually, she's performing a task, and it's actually labor versus if somebody gets another type of compensation, you're paid for your uniforms or something, it's somewhat of like a stipend. And my concern would be is we're actually treating that as what it should be, and probably would have to ask someone that deals in wages exactly where it should go. My thinking, if she's an independent contractor and that's how we're treating it, it'd be a 1099. If she's compensated, you know, it's just like if you're supposed to put down your mileage if you take your car home or whatever, and that's another form where you're supposed to pay taxes on that benefit. And I don't know, I'm a little confused at how this is dropping into as a wage into that type of a, I'm not sure.
But is that the way the state?
That's the
David.
way we've done it even before me, and we've been doing that all along.
Can you help me on this, David? Are you familiar with these?
We do add some to our W-2s, which are not subject to Social Security.
And it is for,
It's for actually health insurance.
yeah, that's a benefit,
It's
And-
covered.
okay?
and
But
your
it's not an
employee-
actual,
Your employee's responsible for paying those taxes?
but it's not like a wage. See, she in essence is performing a task as an employee by filling out these documents. And that's my area of concern, especially when she's a current county
She's
employee.
paying income tax, but she's not paying Social Security on it.
Right.
Is that what you're saying?
What? Yeah.
Because she's getting paid through claims and not through payroll with this.
Well, if it's a wage, it should have Social Security. If it's not, then it doesn't.
But I thought Sandy had found out and told us too that this couldn't go through payroll.
That's what the state had informed us in 1995. But
Yeah.
this is above me. I don't know. I'm just only going by what they're telling
Well, that
us.
is 27 years ago.
Yeah, it's
So
true.
maybe it might have changed.
So is that, David, back to your employees, does that fit, that they get, they go on their W-2s and they don't?
That's for health insurance though, Tom.
It's health insurance.
See, if
Oh,
you're
okay.
actually carrying out
Oh,
a
it's not
task,
for a
it's
task.
like a wage,
Right.
you're performing a service.
I mean, I don't know either, I'm not taxing.
I'm okay with this here, I'd just like to make sure we're properly handling it. And if we can make a motion, something like that, so we can actually do a little more research to find out where the magic spot is on her.
Would that
whether
be
it's a-
something, Chris, you could check
What?
into?
Is it two different subjects though, how they're handling it and the contract?
Well, I'm assuming the money comes to the county, correct?
Money comes from the county, from
And
the
the
state.
county
yes.
has to reissue the money.
Yes.
And she is an employee, and she's performing a waged position that she's compensated through a W-2. And now we're giving her additional compensation for an actual employee task by filling out these forms, and we're treating it in two separate ways. That in turn would create an issue, I
But-
assume.
Right, but it would be in the auditor's office, not necessarily affect the contract that we.
Well, we just have to, we just gotta put it in the right location, and she may have to pay Social Security on those wages if it's so determined that's how they should be accounted for.
Right, but
That would be the
the contract we're looking at doesn't address that.
Right, that'd be something you can check
Yeah.
out.
Approve the contract and then look into as far as
And we
how
get your
it's paid
contact
out.
person that can
Yeah.
talk to
Sure.
you.
Yeah, and that's why I'm saying I'm okay with the amount that we're paying her and what she's doing. It's just so we get it in the right spot whenever we send out our tax forms.
I guess you approve the contract and we'll work on that. Or
Right,
Chris
the
will work on
auditor's
that.
office will have.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I can get the
Make sure
state
we're right.
contact to work with Chris on that.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's just a matter of seeing exactly how it should be handled.
Sure.
Because, you know, you don't want to come back in and say you should have been deducting Social Security and Medicare from those wages, and the county should have been paying it.
Sure.
So,
Right, but that's an auditor's office.
as long as we
Not
can.
ours. Okay, we'll entertain a motion to approve the contract.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion made, and I'll vote aye, carried 3-0.
Thank you.
The next thing is official bond approval. We do this every year for the blanket bond for the treasurer's office and the sheriff. You wanna-
Here. Okay, these bonds, they're the same as every year. We're still with Harpinell Insurance on these. The treasurer's office has separate bonds plus the sheriff because they're bonded higher than any other employees. The rest of them are under a blanket bond where we only have to give the positions now and not the names. It is stated in the blanket bond that the clerk and the auditor is also bonded out for like 30,000, where everybody else is under 15. And then, like I said, the treasurer's office, the sheriff have their own separate bonds. But these bonds need to be approved by the commissioner so they can get recorded for each of the positions.
Questions? Comments? We have.
It's just routine.
Routine, yes.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve it.
And I'll second that motion.
Okay, motion made and second, carried 3-0. All right, the last thing under our is setting next year's organizational meeting. Since I'm not going to be here, I will abstain from that, so.
I kind of talked to Becky, and we were looking, first day of business is the 3rd, and if we just have it at 9 in the morning, we'd have our organizational meeting. I know you like that, Chris.
Did you see my eyes there?
Yeah.
Right on.
Gotta give us something to do over the holidays, see.
Right on.
I've already got the agenda ready, so I know we're having the council at 4, so I just want to do it at 9 in the morning. We can do it at 9 in the morning, or we can do it in
Now,
the evening.
I think in years past, we did it after the
After
council,
the council.
after the council meeting.
Because I was planning on 4 and 5.
Because everybody's here and just one bam, bam, you throw something. If the council could get done in 2 hours. So,
I think it has to do, I don't know how our appointments and that'll go, if there's anything. Usually those are shared among the whole group, so they pick out of them.
Go for 9.
All right, I'll make a motion for 9 o'clock on the 3rd at the request of David Ancient.
okay. And I'm good with that too, so.
Okay, motion made and second, carried 2-0.
And he's a councilman, and he's telling us when our meetings are.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to.
3rd at 9.
All right. Any comments? Ms. Ling is? Yes.
Morning.
Hi.
Hi, okay.
Yes, please come up here so the people out.
Here or there?
We're going to pick you up, you stand right in front
Yeah.
of
You
me.
stand right here, because this
Okay.
is.
That's the microphone.
Good morning. Ike Glenn with GCS. I'm the owner, and I currently oversee the janitorial services for the county. I stand here today because I would like to reference back to the 20th meeting where it was mentioned that the commissioners table our services due to department heads coming together because our services, I guess, were unsatisfactory. So, with that being said, I never knew of any quality issues at hand. In fact, how I learned of it was 2 days after from the general public and a couple employees. Sorry, I'm shaking a little bit here, but it's can't fix anything if I don't know about it. No one reached out to us. You can ask Sheriff Malone here. If we've had issues in the past, we've been very accommodating and really swift in fixing those. So I just wanted to know for the record. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Mike.
Mike.
I have a question on the cleaning services of the county buildings. Is there a protocol where whoever has the complaint, who do they go to? The commissioners? Do they go to who in order to contact Mr. Glenn?
In the past, they went to Teresa,
Mhm.
and I would say that probably should fall on Greg, in my opinion now, that in the absence of that position. So maybe part of it is a lack of a place to go with the complaint.
It's a lack of communication,
Right.
a lot of progression.
Well, okay, is that on the next meeting?
I have it on the
agenda?
January 3rd.
Yeah, well, maybe that should be a
agenda.
good discussion.
Because in his defense, he knew nothing about it.
Right.
And I also would like, if an office holder has a problem, include me into the email, and Randy and Becky too. I mean, I think it would be good for us just to be made aware of it, because as Ike is unaware of it, I also am unaware of it. And if there is issues, then we need to afford him the opportunity to correct them.
Because if it's like me, that was the first time I heard about it last meeting.
Same with me. So it's
Now,
one of those things we
I will
just,
make a comment about in the past, there's been some issues, and you talked to Teresa, and Teresa's maybe aware there's some issues and they were corrected. Yeah, so lack of communication sounds like a reason for this.
and everybody has employees, and they're not all perfect.
The contracts with the commissioners, so the complaints should come to the commissioners, and one of the commissioners should contact Mr. Young.
If we have somebody here local, though, that's handling it, we're not here on a day-to-day basis, commissioners, but if we have somebody here, but we need to be informed of it. That's important, that we're aware of it.
I believe it should be a formal.
Something in writing, it shouldn't be word of
Yeah.
mouth. Everything should be in writing.
And in the past, Teresa did a good job notifying us, just,
Yeah.
verbally, that there was an issue and it was taken care of. So maybe it wasn't documented, but we knew about it in the past, so, yeah.
Yeah.
And she probably did do that in her own way, but she didn't get it to us, but
Might be
she actually
easier to,
gives an update.
To add to you three, or to add to three commissioners, but also Mr. Glenn Burdish, or whoever gets the contract, to where he knows not right away.
Sure. I mean, it's just a matter of sharing the information.
Absolutely.
And it's really a good thing to have one person that, even though we could be copied on that, we need one person, be like Greg maybe, to oversee that every time a department knows who, they're not going to Randy one time, me, Becky the next time. It needs to be one person, but we need to be notified.
And there's a procedure for maintenance requests, and maybe this should be part of that too.
Yeah.
Now, you're gonna have a secretary, she'll go to her, and then she gets with you all with a written complaint. And, then it'll be filed, and then on that complaint, it'll be if you've been contacted,
Right.
Like I said, I think we're all in agreement of lack of communication.
Yeah.
We just need to put a structure in place to address an issue like this, so that it has protocol to follow, so we all become aware of it.
All right. That it? We'll draft-
Well,
it'll
then
be
I
next
got comments.
Yeah.
Might be a good time to do this. I want to wish Tom well in his retirement from commissioners. When I came on 10 years ago, Tom was 2 years in his first term. We worked good together. He worked good with all the commissioners. What I noticed about Tom and his career, public safety was #1 in this county. And that will go down as a legacy from Tom Hauser. #1, I came on, he was a big push for the EMS at the North Station. He seen a need, everybody did, but we couldn't find a way to do it. And we all worked together as commissioners. Got one of them here, Bill Amos. Larry James worked on it, Tom worked on it, the council worked on it,
The hospital worked with us.
hospital.
And don't forget the highway department, because
Yes.
if it wasn't for them, they are very, it's.
Yes, they helped build the facility out there to update it to living quarters. Redevelopment helped fund some of it, I believe.
I don't remember that one,
No, it came out of the special edit tax, that's right.
but it did, yes.
Yes. But no,
It wouldn't have qualified for redevelopment.
what happened over the years when they built that, they promised the people that could happen, 25-plus years ago. And every commissioner since then agreed it needed to happen. Tom took it one step farther, kind of pushed it a little harder and got everybody on board and made it work. Thanks, Tom.
I mean, it actually went into play after I was out of office, but.
Firsthand, I've seen it where I live. It cuts the time down by 10 or 15 minutes to get an ambulance. So it really helps our community. And it's there to come back south if it needs to be too. The other thing Tom did, public safety, that the county is much better off is the armory. He worked with Mayor Ewing to receive the armory in the county's possession, ownership of the armory. Then we all had a vision. Tom had a vision what it could look like. All we have to do is drive out there and look now. That was the vision. When we was working at that, we was going back and forth what it could be used for. We was looking at a case of tornado, case of flood, ice storm. We didn't realize the pandemic would hit it first and how much that facility meant during that time, the last 3 years. I don't know what we would have did. So yes, thank you for getting that started also, Tom. It's an asset to the county. Thank the council, thank the redevelopment commission for that also. It's just a team effort to get that done. So. But no, Tom's been a good friend of mine, and this is what's good about it. He's a friend when I came in as commissioner, he's a friend when I'm leaving. A lot of times you don't see that in politics. Did we have our disagreements? Yes. 8 years, no, 10 years, 8 years as commissioner, 2 years of council. So, over 12 years, yeah. So, thank you very much. But we did disagree on one thing, and we will never, I don't think ever will agree on it. It's outside of politics. He still thinks green tractors is the best. I say red, so we'll just have to deal with that, won't we?
That's because he has the money.
I don't own the red one, but you own the green one. So.
Well, I had to buy a green one to see if it was any good, and I found out there wasn't. No, thanks again. And we got a little cake and stuff after the meeting. I welcome everybody to stay and have a piece of cake and chat a little bit and wish Tom well. So, thank you for your leadership.
Tom, I'd also like to say thank you for all your support of the highway department. You always supported us and everything we tried to do, and I really appreciate it.
It's easy to support the highway department. They do a great job.
Thank you.
And I want to say this is my last meeting with the county commissioners. I know, Randy, I haven't got to work with you as long, Randy Cole, but the other two. I just want to thank you for all the years and for what you've taught me. I've learned a lot being with the council and the commissioners over the last 8 years, and I really appreciate it. And Tom, good luck to you also.
And thank you, Pam, for everything you did for the employees and commissioners here in the council. We've had some tough decisions to make, so you was with us all the way. So thank you, Pam.
All right. Well, next meeting will be January 3rd. What all these signs? Is it just me?
They are tired.
The question is always, are they worth it?
We still have trouble. I got a collector out of my boss 2 years ago. It was 73 international. That's not very good. It's about 130 horsepower. I had one when we was little, when I was a kid. I sold it, but I found one down in the store. Good luck, man. That's in my bed. I planted it last year just to keep it.
See if they do it?
I just like over.
130 horsepower tractors.
No, that really was a big tractor back in the day in '73.
Well, I mean, compared to today.
Actually, my son did it on county contracts,